Hello everyone, my name is Kawia and we are live on Amani TV. With me is the co-host.
Amani.
Okay, so here with me is Mr. Kingsley, the founder of the African Diaspora Community. Welcome, Mr. Kingsley. Do you want to introduce yourself?
My name is Kingsley Anozie. I'm the founder of the African Diaspora Community.
All right, Mr. Kingsley, thank you for coming. So what was the inspiration that sparked the journey for you?
Okay, the African Diaspora Community started in 2021. That was at the peak of COVID. It more like started as an online platform where we come on every weekend to throw banters and try to, get to know each other. When we started, we were just 12 on the group. So we started with like every weekend on Twitter Space, we'll come up, we throw banters, we'll have fun. But then when they lifted the COVID ban in 2023, early 2023, we tried to like meet in person, to actually network in person. And that's when we had our first trip to Wales. And the rest became history after that.
All right. So apart from the fact that you wanted to foster the relationship between Africans, unite them, is there any other motivation behind it?
Yeah, the primary motivation is to create an opportunity, a space where Africans living in the UK can network. But apart from that, the idea is to build a business, build a legacy that will last for long, and that's what we're doing at the moment.
Okay. So do you have specific strategies you use in your company?
By strategies, you mean for marketing?
Yeah, for marketing, yeah.
So we don't do like traditional advertising like they do on the TV or social media. Or more like a community-based advertising, that's what we do. So we have different WhatsApp groups and Instagram groups that we have. So what we do is we do trips, we share the pictures, we share the testimonies from people that came on the trip, and we rely a lot on word of mouth to share the news around. As a matter of fact, we've not invested one pound at all on the traditional advertising since we started for more than 2 years now. It's all been word of mouth and community-based advertising.
Okay, so do you participate in any eco-friendly trends, tourism trends?
Okay.
Yeah.
So apart from the trips that we do overseas, we do have trips that we do within the UK. We call it staycations. So we do at least 2 staycations every year. Well, this month, August, we just did one to Bournemouth. And this one was more like a road trip where members came with their cars and we drove off from the Birmingham coast station to Bournemouth and then returned after 5 days.
Right.
So we do a lot of that. But if we are doing trips overseas, we more like fly.
Yeah.
That's the fastest way to go. We do road trips. We've done a trip through the train, but that was when we did Blackpool trip 2 years ago. People had to come on the train to the trip, but yeah.
Okay. Can you share an example of a difficult decision you had to make as a director during the travel times, like those times to travel? Have you ever been in a situation where you have to make a difficult decision to accommodate your people, customers, people that are traveling with?
Okay. I think the deepest or highest decision, the hardest one I've ever done was most recently in June. I think it's June. That was during the Israel-Iran war, 15 days war they had. So I was in the Maldives when kind of US escalated the war by attacking Iran. So they had to close the airspace for many countries. I think Qatar closed their airspace and a couple of countries were like being watchful to make sure that it doesn't escalate and affect private citizen planes going around. So I was in a situation whereby I had a couple of people going down they were going to transit through Qatar to China and Japan. So it was a family and a couple of other people. Just, over time you have different people traveling at different times. So it was a very difficult decision because now they've paid for their trip, they've paid for their flight, everything. So most of them probably are not aware of what's going on and the escalation of the war going on. So I was in a situation whereby I'm thinking, should I call these people? Because definitely once you call them, they will start asking for refunds. You get, they will start asking for you to get their refund. And it's not like we do package trips for them. What I do is I charge them a service fee and then assist them book their flights and hotels and probably activities. They pay for it separately. So it was a very difficult moment because I was also with a group in Maldives. So I was on the phone almost all day trying to redirect them, call them, explain the situation to them, ask them, do you want to carry on with this trip or do you want to cut it short and postpone? A couple of them wanted to continue. They said that if the flights are flying, then they want to fly. But I think the family going to China decided to cancel their trip because they had to transit through Qatar. And if they get to Qatar and the war escalates, then they have to stay in Qatar for a while. So it becomes a situation of, okay, they've agreed to cancel their trip. Now you have to start ringing the airlines and their hotel to move the things around. But the good thing is that the airlines also understood what was going on. I think they sent emails giving people opportunity to move their trips around if they want to. I think that's one of the hardest decisions because ordinarily, I've been paid service fee to provide that service to them. I could have left them to make their decision, but because we run a community-based business, we have to carry the people along because they're all members of the community. Then I think another situation that was very difficult was when there was an earthquake in Marrakesh last year.
Yeah.
So that was a natural disaster. I had a different group, girls group, ready to fly to Marrakesh, and then we're hearing that there is an earthquake going on, and I had to call them. I remember one girl saying that, trying to push the blame on me that I'm the one that caused the earthquake. I'm the one that is messing their trip up. But at the end of the day, the earthquake happens, it doesn't repeat immediately. But they were scared that, okay, they might be there and it happens again and they become victims, so they had to cancel their trip. So, and in that situation, the airline was refusing to refund for that because earthquakes happen, it happens all the time, but that doesn't mean that flights will stop flying. So it comes a situation of haggling back and front, trying to get their refunds back and all that. At the end of the day, I had to refund them from my purse because the airline refused to refund them. And like I said before, it's not like we are selling those trips to them. What we do is charge them a service fee and then assist them book their trip online. So it was a very difficult one, but at the end of the day, we did what we had to do.
Yeah. So, is it the worst feedback you've gotten from customers? Like, customers complaining that, oh, it's your fault that they had earthquake.
That's the most ridiculous one. It wasn't the worst one. We've
Well,
had
that's the most one. Yeah.
it was very ridiculous because and it goes down to people's understanding of natural disasters and wars and all that. But some people don't get it. But over time, when they keep traveling, they will get used to that.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, listening to the most ridiculous experience you had with your company, now this brings me to the question: what was the proudest moment, or one of the proudest moments?
The proudest moment, I think the moment I try not to. I'm not the kind of person that like jubilates when you hit a milestone. I don't do that. I just look at the next milestone. But there was a situation whereby I was like, okay, it seems we are getting traction. I mean, we're probably heading somewhere. So that was in 2023. One of my admins chatted on the group chat that, you know what, how about we go to Barcelona for a holiday? And I'm like, yeah, I like that. I like the idea. Let's do it. Someone was like, Kingsley, if you can put up a date, we're interested. And then I went back on the drawing table, contacted a hotel, was able to book a hotel, got a date. And then we had 55 people pay for the trip.
Oh,
55 people. I was like, what?
didn't
How
even
can I
expect
travel with
that.
55 people? It
Never.
doesn't make sense. Um, uh, at a point, I was like, okay, we probably have to divide this into two
So,
groups. But then we did it, and it was a very successful trip. And I was like, okay, we could do this again. And subsequently, we've done two trips that got to that number after that. And yeah, I think that was one moment I was like, okay, I kind of getting used to this. I think we're in business. Like,
It
we are in
encourages you
business
to do more.
to do
That
more.
yeah,
So
it
yeah,
tells you that what you're doing, you're actually doing the
yeah.
right thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Then I think another proud moment I had, some people don't know that the African diaspora community was kind of my final major project in school when I was in school. That's how this whole idea was drafted in paper first. So the proudest moment I had was the first trip we had. So we started as a networking community, like I said before, come on weekends, throw banters. Then the whole idea of, okay, let's do travels as a means of networking came up, and I announced it. And then 30 something people turned up for our first trip in Wales.
Oh,
So
First.
I was like, okay, we could do this all the time. I could do this full time. So that's one of the proudest moments too, the first trip we had.
okay. So now, what advice do you have for upcoming entrepreneurs that would want to venture into traveling, having your kind of business?
Okay, so the whole I explained to you before that our community is called the African Diaspora Community, and there is this thing we do on Saturdays whereby we do business people's day, whereby we allow people to share their business ideas and share their business, the ones they're already running on the group, for people to patronize them, and then people talk about how to improve businesses or business ideas people can venture into. One of the things that have people always point out is that if you want to do business in the UK, you have to put up your integrity to the highest level. So, if you want my advice to anybody that wants to go into entrepreneurship or get into travel business or any kind of business at all in the UK, you have to have integrity. People need to trust you that you will always keep your word and you will
Deliver.
always do the right thing by them. Then consistency. You have to be consistent. You can't be hot today and cold tomorrow and then warm the next day. Have to be consistent. You have to keep giving people what they want. You have to keep showing up. That's the way to do it.
Okay, so how do you decide on new travel destination? Do you just decide on your own, or you communicate with clients or your team and all that?
So because our business is a community-based business, we don't out of the blue pick out, say, oh, we are selling Maldives today and people should subscribe to Maldives trip. No. So what we do is we come on the group, we tell people that, okay, we should go on a trip, say, like we have one coming up now, November. Okay, there's one already almost fully booked for Ibiza in October. So what we'll do is tell people, okay, look at the places where options that we have for holiday. What do you guys think? Because it's a community, people give their suggestions. Sometimes we put up a poll. We'll tell people, okay, from the conversation for the past few weeks, this is the cities people are more interested in. So now let's do a poll to see the one that will come out highest, which is how we come about the Barcelona trip I told you from 2023. So people did a poll between Barcelona, Paris, and I think Geneva, and then the highest poll was
Oh,
Barcelona,
Barcelona.
and then we picked it. So it's more like people's ideas. Of course, sometimes you come up with ideas, like, of course, like the Scandinavia exploration we're having in January now is my idea because we've never explored the Scandinavia. But you can think outside the box, bring it to the group, and then see what their reaction is. But most of the times, you allow people to pick the destination.
Okay. So how many countries have you guys been like since you began the TED travel?
I can't keep a count.
Oh,
This year alone, we've been to more than 18 countries,
Wow,
and we're just in August.
oh,
18 countries.
Yeah. So we try to do like 2 trips every year. Sorry, every month. But then within that month, you might still have random trips that came up. Like this year, even though we're doing 2 trips every month. I still had to do Maldives, that wasn't planned, and then Bournemouth, that was a staycation. So that's why I said it's been 18 so far this year.
Wow, wow, wow. Well, so how do you combine your job? Have you got any other job, or it's just your the tech travel?
Because of how big we've grown, I do this full time now.
So, given the demands of your job, how do you combine your personal life and your work life?
That's a very good question, because it can get really hectic. I think balance to me comes from passion, if that makes sense. I don't know if I can use those two words together, but balance to me, work-life balance. What is work-life balance? Me, I think it's passion. If you do something you like that it no longer feels like work, do you still need balance? That's a good question.
Yeah.
So, of course, I still create out time for family, for personal time, because if you're going to do it for a long time, you still have to have your breaks in between. I always use the word of Steve Jobs that says that you can have 80% work and 20% noise. That's the way he describes it. 80% work, 20% noise. So in as much as you work, I mean, when I left my job, I knew I was going into a job I have to do 24/7. I do my work 24/7. If you call me anytime, ask questions, I'm willing to provide service for you. But at the end of the day, you still have to create out time for your family, for family time, create out time for your personal travels. In all this, I still do my personal travels because that's the way you can relax. Yeah, but do I work? I work a lot. I try to provide services to anybody I can. And at the end of the day, I still make sure that I have that rest, 20% noise, to rest yourself and to refresh for the next service you're providing. So yeah, work-life balance to me is more like passion. I do this. It's no longer a work to me. It's more like a passion. But at the end of the day, you still create out things for the things that matter.
Okay. Do you have any trip you're presently planning?
So at the moment, we have a couple coming up. We have a group trip to Albania, due rest precisely in Albania, coming up on the 14th to 18th of September. Then we have a trip to Ibiza, coming up 14th to 18th of October. Then we have another one in November, coming up to Montenegro, 5th to 9th of November. And that will be the last trip for the year, the November trip, because we'll try not to do group trips. What we do in December is we do end of the year events. So we call it the Third Secret Santa dinner party. We do it every year. And this year on, we are doing it on the 13th of December at Legacy Center here in Birmingham. So that will be the last event we're having this year. But then in January, we're starting with a trip to Tenerife on the 16th to the 20th of January. So at the Christmas event, we're going to launch all the trips we have for the first and second quarter of next year. So I'll try not to give it to you now. Yeah, if you come to our Christmas event, you'll be able to know what we are doing up until August of next year.
Okay, so do you want to give people your contact information? How do you get your Instagram handle, social media handles? Okay,
so you can always reach out to us on Instagram at Tadtravels UK. Tad is TAD. That's Tango Alpha Delta Travels UK. Then you can always reach out to us on WhatsApp also at 0740-404-8506. Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of today's session. You can follow us on our Amani TV show. EU will definitely be covering most of the trips. Stay tuned.